Snoopy's at the highest level when he's playing, when his teammates are also playing really well. And that wasn't the case versus Miami. Cammy goes like -40. That's not going to win you a series versus pro team. And Purge is like -25. So between them two, you're getting outslayed by 65 kills. Yeah, we cannot have that today. You got to be able to bring that early momentum. So that's why I respect the early Scar, because it was a blender yesterday versus the Heretics. They were dominant at P2. You heard Chance say it multiple times. Nameless continues to hone in on that. And they left it at the end to the opposition, and that's what cost them. So they're looking to redeem themselves today.
Yeah, it's one of those instant turnaround, lesson learned type situations that we're looking for out of this very well experienced team, especially with one another. And the opening exchange does favor that of the Boston Breach. Cammy on the hard point, tested by Afro nearby, with the rest of Cloud9 making their way over from blue into mid, seeing if they can get some time of their own.
Yeah, it's just a contest fest for now. Every pinch is currently being watched. Just trying to hit your stuns, your nades to get him off of this P one time, but Afro goes for the chow. So now C9 have the advantage. You have all the control of the spawn. So 20 seconds remaining here at the P1, and you're forcing Boston to just flood right through the middle.
And Afro's 5-0. He's been in the hard point the entire time. Those are all objective kills. He may be really close to having an early Hellstorm. He will be taken down by Snoopy. Trades are out, though, so Cloud9 will at least have some retained pressure over mid. But you look over to the bottom side of the minimap. P2 about to open up. Max surprises Nasty, and Cloud9 already have an early edge over towards P2.
Yeah, that's a massive kill from Max, surprising Nasty the way that he did, because Nasty was there about 15 seconds into the HP. At P1, and now off the rotation, Cloud9 are going to be successful. Afro continuing to shine here early, switches over from the SMG to the AR in hand, knows that this gunfight is a little bit easier with the M15, but the pinch is on for Boston. They're coming from everywhere.
Oh, timing for Beans a little bit off. You saw him on the minimap trying to turn around to deal with it, but wasn't sure what exactly he needed to help first. So perfect timing on the pinch for Boston leads to a break, and now they have awareness for where Cloud9 spawns are. Quick reattempt, potentially for a break for Cloud9, but they're doing it with isolated numbers. They've been isolated, no problems. They're up and over. Snoopy gets the damage to help out Purge, and Boston will retain their break.
Yeah, this is an easy 30-second hold there. Boston don't even decide to play the Jennies. You're forcing them to overextend, head glitch the box, or Gore Top Motel. They hold down this final 30 seconds to perfection. Now it's all about the battle off rotation. Is Nasty or Snoopy going to get caught off guard? He does. Afro wins the initial fight, so Cloud9 in position to rally up a lot of time here, because P3 is basically unbreakable if you got that plane heady.
Oh, especially with this setup. You've got Beans watching one overextension. Afro's the first point of contact over towards blue. You're going to have just so much information to how you need to set up inside the hill. But both players, aforementioned, will be overwhelmed. So Boston had a chance to pinch, but Vivid's nade changes the narrative just a touch. And now it's just down to, can you figure out that Nasty's still playing behind you? Initial kill is good. Afro can't quite mantle to get over to find his former EU counterpart, and eventually gets the kill, but not before Boston find the break.
Yeah, and look at where Bean spawns. So now he has an opportunity to make up for this. What Nasty just did in top green. But he's going to get caught. Perfect read there from Purge. Now you have all of C9 spawning on the backside of green. Kill feed lights up in green. All map control in favor of the Breach, and they have an opportunity now to chain this P3 to the P4 and blow the game wide open.
Yeah, this could get ugly quick. Two really concentrated breaks for Boston lead to tremendous success in the back 30 seconds of those last two hills. Cammy really hasn't been a factor, but he hasn't needed to be. Nasty's done all the work for him in the AR department, 13 and 7 as he just falls to Afro. So a chance for Cloud9 quickly to transition off the old time at 3 to initiate an early break at 4. Snoopy with an M15 in hand. Can't quite find the feet of Afro down low. And he looks towards the staircase, and that's when Afro pops up for 2. Vivid makes safe the front, and Cloud9 have a chance to regain the lead.
That's a perfect early break there from C9, and it all starts with those gunfights at that old time. You force all of Boston to be trapped in towards the backside of blue, and then one player's going to spawn out. They just overwhelm you with the pressure through white wall, and now you cannot break yourself back into it. They have it locked down. All of Boston spawning over towards P2. Afro on another streak. He does have a Hellstorm this time, but Boston at least fighting for this final 20.
Yeah, Afro really the sole factor for why Cloud9 continued to stay close in these games. The opening P1, he was on a 5-0 start. Right there, another large streak. He's 16 and 6. Can anyone else step up to try to make this a little bit easier for the full squad? And Beans has 3. Try to chase down one more. He knows Cammy's nearby, but Cammy's already found 2, and he turns to find the 3rd. So the slow start for Cammy mitigated over the last 60 seconds. Is up to 6 and 9, and Boston have our set a tie game as we head over to new.
Yeah, but with Cammy finding that double, it's actually going to allow Beast to spawn right into the backside of green. So still trying to contest for these back spawns. Not going to be as clean of a break opportunity that Boston was looking for, but now you got back green. Vivid from the front lines, cutting at mid cut, lines him up with the pistol. But Boston again, another lead change, and now you just got to hold.
Oh, Snoopy gets red though. 3 kills for Cloud9. Back and forth we go as all 4 Breach members drop. 27 seconds on the hill still to soak up for this scrap time. And Cloud9 gonna have our first substantial kind of finishing moment on this first set of hills. More kills to follow. Wow, Beans just wants to chow everything. Now gets the regen, but another full wipe of Boston has Cloud9 not just looking at scrap, they're trying to get the setup for initial at new.
Yeah, now Boston have to hit the reset. All right, we're going to be down 25 going into the second set of our HPs. Let's get our gunfight wins off the rotation, and Purge and Nasty are already able to find 2. Cloud9 are currently up by 20. They've been able to manage a lot of this game. Let's go to a listening with the squad in blue.
I'm streaking, fuck it.
Nasty's gate.
I'm wrapping to you, Ben.
Streak straight away, okay?
Hold on, toes.
Meantime, I'm gonna go ready again.
You're dead.
Like your shit.
need
Hold on.
Actually, I'm just playing towards the front hill.
They're running into tools.
Hey, listen, 1, 2 tools,
There's
one
a-
blue.
Another one tools, another one tools.
That's right,
Nice.
gate.
That's 4.
I'm in trophy right.
I have a trophy on myself.
I'm looking over one time.
Pick the right side.
Yeah, streak. I'm looking for gate.
I'm 9-year-old.
Here we go, make cut.
Somebody. Nice.
Nice. Make cut.
Make out. One side, boys.
Make cut and set.
Sat me.
Make it
Look at the tower. Look at the tower.
Maybe that's tools. Got me.
Could be
Gate,
one
gate,
for
gate,
the-
gate.
I really
I'm trying to tools. I'm trying to tools.
Oh, the gate. Bridge.
Bridge
Bridge
top.
dead. He's up top. He's up top. Shut on.
Top dead.
Like your shit.
I went tools.
I'm gonna try to look
One
at
for 90 minutes.
Look at me,
I can put time on you.
Hey, he's going top. He's going top, I think.
I'm in top.
He's low. Hit twice on the box.
Still low, Nasty. Nasty. No one time.
Gate purge.
Gate top and low.
Top blue. Make sure you stay route.
Stay round.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
Let's
this.
go mid. We have to go mid.
On P1. P1 is dead. I'm mid.
Trophy has 2 ticks on.
Me close right.
On the side right now. Nasty.
They're top.
Close left.
Top.
One shot.
Nice.
Stairs and middle.
Top Nasty. Hit him once.
Okay. That's me.
I'm nading time.
I didn't set him on time. I'm pitching again if you
I
guys
need one
wait.
box.
Let's see what box.
Low.
Go box that.
Let's get top. Top dead.
I'm back
Guys,
block.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, male Nasty.
I'm going through
Playing
mid.
through old. One's walking up base stairs.
All the guys
One's going
top.
top.
Help him low.
I'm playing through mid then.
I'm one shot.
I need a low for you.
I don't want
I have your top shot. I have your top shot.
One sat.
Heard you.
I'm playing a mid with yours.
I went towards new now.
I'll swim back right. I'm playing the back right pusher, okay?
Yeah, do it. I can help you.
I'm gonna come in tools.
I'm just running on the wing.
No. Coming. Should be trailer.
Decent stretch there considering the Hellstorms are both teams for Cloud9, but Boston now the ones forced to break as we jump over to a breach listening.
Sorry, Marcus back left, one top green.
Michael playing weak.
One shot, top green, 1 shot, 2. There's
Yeah,
I'm working mid, guys. We got time, we got time.
I'm trying to play.
Yeah,
Playing after that, I'm playing.
I'm with you, I'm coming.
Shot for me. Let's
Let's get shot, boys. Let's get top green.
Go on here.
He can't cross, he could be mid of me, guys. You can play kills, mid, left and shit. I'll just try to I
Oh,
got shot, boys. Shot, Breeze, absolute shot, guys.
P5 after. The name back P5. Yeah.
Absolute, I'm helping Tom.
I need help.
Top 5 beans, we...
Bro, this is so full.
Yeah,
Play close to the plane for time. Absolute plane after him.
Yeah, reset up sandbags, boys.
Yeah, not hitting that.
On the plane, dead. He's gonna be back. Time.
Here, time. Not trying time.
I'll top operation, chow.
Yeah, I'm anytime.
I don't see one time after a week and then one.
I got him.
Nice, back right.
He's playing. I'm because. He's on the back mid somewhere. He's on. If it's on time, get rid of time. Get rid of it. I see him. He's back left somewhere. Fuck. He's racing on plane.
Push out. Beans are shopping, you guys. Shot, Beans dead.
I'm here left.
You're right. Okay. I'm right with you. He's gonna be back right. Okay.
Top blue.
I see him. I don't see him top blue. He's gonna be right. I'm standing deep right.
Top blue. No, on the
Back
other.
right. I don't see deep right.
Yeah, Boston a little handcuffed there, trying to work their way through P3. A couple of nice responses from Cloud9, and we rotate over to new, and Max found himself 3 in a row, a particular double that has Boston trying to stretch something in from the front, but Purge is being hunted, and Cloud9 will get over the 200-point threshold.
Hey, Cloud9 are just making what they need to at the right time. They're getting breaks in those final 20 seconds, soaking up that final jump time, and then having early rotations as well. That's been a difference so far in this game. Boston is still fighting tooth and nail to keep themselves into the mix. So going to be about a 20 to 25 point difference. C9 in the advantage again, early over towards the P5, and Beans in a position to catch a couple freebies.
Yeah, you saw it from Afro's perspective as he was trying to get a read on the Boston rotation, but Beans perfectly set up to deal with it, and that's all for net as Afro's making a mess of the exit from old. But there's some space to work with here through plane. Not going to feel comfortable by any stretch of the imagination for Boston. Mac has a trophy ready to go if he feels like they need it. First kill good for Nasty. He finds a second as Max slid out, trying to find timing. So now it's on to Afro, as it often has been so far this map, but he's got to value his life and see if he can continue to make a mess of the spawns.
Yeah, he just has to stay alive. Beans does get caught working the OE, but Mac from the front side is able to pop 2, and Vivid, his partner in crime, pops the other. Boston all the way across the map. Cloud9 can still close it out, and last time they put them in this kind of setup, Boston couldn't even touch it, but kills go their way. They flooded mid-cut.
Yeah, Cloud9 are going to spawn tremendously close to the hard point. Nades are landing, though, for the Boston break attempt. Challenges in for Nasty. Shut down and push back as Max finds another. But there is a team kill, and that opens up the door for Breach to get in and at least keep the game going. So keep your focus over to Cammy towards New. He's the cutoff man, trying to see if he can find Cloud9 before they can get to P1, and he's going to find one. Snoopy up top finds another, and the hard point stays neutral for now.
Yeah, Boston are looking for a comeback like the way that Miami did them yesterday. They breached this 200-point mark. You can technically get it done if no one contests this P1 time, but Cloud9 is starting to work on some of these routes. They take White Wall away. What is it going to do to the spawn? Team kills don't help, and you got to stay alive now if you're Purge.
Yeah, that was a team kill right in front and on the hard point with nobody from Cloud9 nearby. Cammy able to make up for one. Needs to find this kill to Afro quickly. Here comes Nasty for the slide through. He finds the elimination. Can anyone touch in time? Max trying to get there at the last second. You got to put your foot on the hard point, but the rest of Cloud9 support find the kills they need and make sure there's no late effort for Boston.
Yeah, big shout out to Afro early on in this game, but everyone started to come alive when they need to. Getting breaks at the key points of these HPs. Final 20 seconds of P3, final 20 seconds of P2. With the P3, it's so much more impactful because you're spawning over towards green. You get all 4 dead with only 20 seconds remaining. You know that if you're pushing up past that 50-yard line, you're going to spawn them all the way across the map and have an opportunity to chain into the next hill. Cloud9 was just a little bit faster, a little bit more team-oriented in their break opportunities, and they capitalized on it to take map 1.
Really tight game, though, back and forth throughout a lot of it, but it really is just the small differences, I think in particular on the scrap time and then leading to rotation to New in that last set of hills for Cloud9. And more importantly, I think it's just that everyone starts to step up to help Afro after his hot start. You can see it, Mac 30 and 23, Beans 31 and 23, and Vivid still goes 22 and 22 with a lot of damage and assists. So the whole team stepping up when it matters there in the last set of hills. Whereas for Boston, not the greatest map overall for Cammy. Snoopy was able to get back towards more respectable stat lines, but it really was just kind of a one-man show for both teams until Cloud9 showed up and really had all 4 guns going.
And early on into the game, Nasty was making plays. Like, he single-handedly was allowing them to break over towards the P3, but then you allow him to make that play, control the spawns, and then off the first attempt, you allow Cloud9 to break you down at P4. It's just those little things. Sometimes it comes down to key gunfights, and Boston are just not winning them right now. And with having slow starts, now going into a search and destroy where Cloud9 are confident as ever, yeah, it's got to be the redeem factor of what they were doing yesterday. You couldn't really find a lot of success in your first buzz, and on a map like Den, where your attacking rounds have struggled, you got to have an answer for that too.
Yeah, agreed. You kind of see that in that last moment of the highlight, Beans was the one who really stepped up first to kind of get the things helped out with Afro. But I like, again, just, you know, talking the Vivid storyline. We had a chance to talk about it a little bit in Challengers this week, but not only do you just, like, don't drop Vivid, it feels like there's a curse surrounding when you drop him, but he really is the glue in a lot of moments, and I like that we got that POV of him in that last set of hills where he gets that kill up plane and then pushes forward to make Boston spawn out. Like, those are the things that don't necessarily get reflected in the stat lines.
Oh, yeah.
But good stuff overall from Cloud9, and I would say again, like, you know, take, you know, this a grain of salt because the caliber of opponent on the other side is different than what they've played up against in recent matches, but that looked a little bit more like the Cloud9 New York that we saw at the beginning of the year, you know, when they started off 3-0 in December, playing up against the likes of G2 and Vancouver in hardpoint specifically. So maybe a little bit of discredit coming through because, yeah, you got beat by FaZe, yeah, you got beat by Paris.
Yeah.
All in all, Cloud9 still looked pretty good in that map.
Oh, yeah, Paris are what? One of the best hardpoint teams that we have so far in the season. They finally lost a couple in their last matchup, and then FaZe are looking like the best team in the game. So just some tough matchups that you had if you were a C9. You can't allow that to kill your confidence. So you answer the comms early for that map number 1. Now you're going into a search and destroy where, like you said, it's not an opponent of that high caliber, and this is a map that has worked for you, not once but twice. So you're feeling confident here.
It should feel like this should be a 2-0 start for New York fans out there, just based on how that first map went, and also going in, like you mentioned, to a search and destroy that you really do prefer. For Boston, no strangers to it. The only issue is the last time they played it, it did not look particularly great. Yeah. They lost 1-6. And the search and destroy has kind of been like that all year for these guys. Like a number of map 5 affairs that they haven't been able to close out. But I think in particular, it's like they either lose by a lot or they win by a little. There really is no in between. So it kind of feels like, you know, again, for Boston, do we have the playbook ready to go against this Cloud9 team? Because like you said, during the veto process, this is something that it looks like Boston should be prepared for based on how it went.
Yeah, because you just played it. So sometimes when you just play a map, you know what you did wrong instantly. It's still soaking in the back of your brain. So let's just run it back and show those adjustments. And it has to be on the attacking side. You have to make sure that you're getting past this young man, because if Beans lines you up with that sniper, you're most likely gonna go down. Don't allow him to dictate how this game is gonna be played.
I like that call, especially with the scope. We know what that is. I would say he's been one of the most impactful snipers that we've had in terms of improving a team's search and destroy. I'm not gonna say maybe the best in the league, but in terms of making Cloud9 better at search, yeah, you love having Beans with a scope in hand. Nasty going to go over towards mid. Purge just has to be careful throwing shoulders early, as Beans is in the vicinity playing over towards a window. And here comes a little double hit out. Purge is going to get a read and then just back off and not bother with it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of information gained. There are at least 2 players on that side of the map, so let's everybody else know on breach. Let's hit the go button and get this bomb down here at B. You take Dojo away, it's going to be a free bomb plant. And this is where they struggled in their post plants. Could not find any versus Vancouver. Let's see if they made the adjustments.
Boston, they try to find timing with some offensive post plant nades towards the back of Dojo. That last Semtex may have revealed a little bit as Afro has to hold off. They're waiting for Mac to show some force first. Through the smoke, up and over. A little bit of damage comes through, but not enough to delete any members. Snoopy's team kill, though, does get us to a 2v2. 23 seconds on the clock. Cammy seen over towards Tin. Beans getting a bit of a workout from him as Afro gets off the regen, trying to finish the food, and that's enough for the kill. 15 seconds on the clock. Purge for the 1v2. Trying to play the timing with the bomb, but Afro's going to push him out. Someone just needs to hop, but they don't. Maybe you guys correctly. Oh, the timing, not ideal. Purge finds the diffuser. No time for Afro to get back on the bomb.
Afro had his head on a swivel there. It was just a 50-50 chance. Is he going to go mid-cut, or is he playing in the back of the spawn? But Purge just plays the time as his best friend. Forces Afro to panic and choose wrong on his decision. Even though you lose the gunfight, you get the round win. Boston successful on their first attack.
Wow. I mean, everything was set up where Cloud9 were prepared to play retake. Onto the B site, you push off the soul man of Purge over towards A rooftops. You're trying to set up this little pinch for Mac, but he doesn't really find the kills or the damage that he was looking for off that smoke pinch. And then Boston just not giving up too much space at Dojo on the retake. So good opening offense there for Boston. Here comes Cloud9, a little bit of early aggressive nades towards the top of A. Pushes off anyone who could possibly be on that heady. And Purge is going to call for help from Nasty.
You're so overwhelming them with pressure. You have Vivid, being the other player watching the pinch, but you're not checking your corners, and now Purge can get activated, able to get out with his life finesse back. Now you have the advantage for another gunfight as Nasty lines it up with the scope 4v2.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go right there for Cloud9. Purge following with another, leaving it down to Vivid, and he will be also picked off by Nasty. So good setup there for Boston. Purge gets a perfect read on the pressure and the commitment from Cloud9's offense, and of course Nasty in the pivot spot to come on over, hits when he needs to with the scope.
Yeah, and I feel like whenever S&D is hitting for Boston, it's usually off the back of the playmaking ability of Purge. Because when he is on, he is on. You saw it early in round 1, able to clutch up the 2v1 there, but get that first blood and get out of dodge. And still be in the play to have C9 focus on you. So Purge right now is activated early into the search and destroy 2-0 for Boston.
Yeah, good start. See what the call is going to be here for Boston after that little feel out and then late commitment to B. I will say that first offense didn't really require them to toss too many opening nades. They had a lot of utility on the backside of the plant. Not going to be the case here, as Cloud9 will show that, yep, our defense is on top of B with that little stun check. And Boston will reconsider their approach, trying to follow behind Nasty, who swapped from the scope in the early parts of this round over to an AR.
Yeah, Boston already knows. If you're going to get aggressive on B, you're most likely doing it with some teammates. So let's just not waste any time trying to clear out that space. Work it over to the opposite side. But Beans is holding the angle on the outskirts of rooftops, finds the first blood onto Snoopy, and now C9 have the advantage.
At least by numbers, but playing retake with Beans on a scope could be difficult, especially with Boston playing forward over towards small with Cammy. A little bit of pre-fire comes through, finds the first, but meanwhile, Beans connected onto Purge outside the roofs, and Vivid secures the trade. So now it just comes down to Nasty for the 1v3. At least has the bomb to play with, damage onto Beans, but there's the rest of Cloud9 willing and waiting to play out, overwhelm, and find the kill.
Yeah, it all starts with Beans just finding that kill, being the only player over towards that A site, holding the outskirts, getting the first blood, and then while Boston were trying to work that bomb plant, Cammy does get spotted on the side of the computer room. So they're able to isolate the gunfight, even though he's able to find one. But just the rotation out of Beans almost lines up a collat. Great angle, great shot. Cloud9 on the board.
See if they can put it together with a follow-up. Again, we kind of saw what the difference makers were. What's the call now for the offense? 2-1-1 split up with focus towards A early. Mac with the sub. Purge still playing on top. Keep an eye on Nasty, number 4. He pivoted over when Purge called for help last time. Looks like he very well may do that once again as Purge is able to get some information. And you got to be cautious here if you're Mac, knowing that Nasty is rotated over to watch this cross from the terrace.
Whoa. Smoke grenade isn't going to allow Nasty to have the angle that he actually wants, and Purge is just backing down Mac for now. And this entire time, Mac was just a decoy, forcing Boston to rotate over towards A, thinking that that was the commitment was going to go on in, but B's are free. Let's get this one down.
Yep. So now you got to play retake behind this. And you're already seeing a couple of shots from Vivid at mid, so this post plant is quite dynamic. Meanwhile, Boston trying to flood this together, but Afro catches his first. Follow up from Vivid. Oh! Perfect. What a snap for 2. And it's all on to Nasty. Hits once onto Beans. Can he get forward and get a weapon? Right now he's got the pistol out. Decent slide. He finds the kill, but Mac is there to make sure no more antics exist. And back-to-back rounds come through for Cloud9.
Yeah, and it's been the playmakers just making the plays, drawing the attention, forcing them to hit the rotation, getting free bomb plants, and so far, a lot of success early on these attacking rounds. Nasty almost clutches off the 1v3, but knocked down at 1 HP. There's another body left. You don't stand a chance, but back to Vivid with this snap. The wall bounce just catches Purge off guard. And Reese Vivid ties the game.
Telling you, man. We see it after he gets dropped off a team in the CDL. We saw it a lot in Challengers.
He's the glue, baby.
Don't sleep on Vivid, man. Early trophy down for Boston, setting up an aggressive approach towards B early. Beans has showed his hand, though, with the scope already cutting across. So you need to try to respect this a touch if you're Boston. Defensive nades also tagging up the attack, but not enough to find any kills. There's the smoke over. Watch for Vivid. Again, playing on this cut. He's in a perfect spot to get the read, and that's all he needs. Gets the info, puts himself into a spot to not be... And the defense will rotate over to deal with any quick hits towards A, which is currently underway.
Yeah, I love how Boston aren't like hesitating on this play call because they know that Vivid watched them cross, but they said, all right, they're going to be out of position. So let's just try to take this bomb side and instantly work our bomb plan. But it's Vivid working this late pinch. He gets caught. Great play from Cammy.
Yeah, now Cammy can kind of float a little bit closer towards A in case this hit from the front starts to develop, but the trades are good. Beans by himself, not to be counted out in this 1v3 technically. 2 more to find. We saw it on Colossus last week. But this is a little bit different. There's not a lot of windows to find angles at. And it looks like Beans may just back off here and kind of value his life moving forward for the rest of the search.
Yeah, he knows how impactful his life is going to be, especially with that boomstick. But Boston right now, no hesitation on their attacking rounds. You couldn't win any versus Vancouver. That's 3 straight here on this game. Or 2 and then 1 defense. But their offenses are looking great in their post plants. They're not hesitant on their rotations. They're taking the map and holding the map, and they're playing their post plants while Cammy's watching the late pinch. If Cammy doesn't find that kill, Reese is going to break them all down. But
for sure,
Cammy heads up play. Boston back in the lead.
Yeah, the other call of that would be if Vivid does find that kill, especially with them playing so far behind the play at P2, that Boston may try to like force out an isolation from the front with their numbers. But regardless, not a conversation that was needed. Pretty tight one here, honestly. Good little back and forth between both these two teams. We have a very aggressive setup here for Cloud9 at mid. Purge will once again, though, get a read and back up to play his life while the rest of Boston's defense is trying to play forward, and they will actually win out the front side of B, allowing a lot of freedom if they want to rotate back.
Yeah, but C9, they're not going to work that rotation over towards A. They're taking mid-map away. So now you're breaking on Afro to potentially catch an opening. But Nasty is holding this angle, and I think he's got the snipe. He knows that there's pressure up to the middle of the map, but the timing for Afro might work out.
Yeah, very well may. But he's supposed to be the guy that, as you scale him deep, he could do this. Make sure the defense cannot wrap back over through mid. So 3v3. Nasty, very cautious about how he wants to set himself up, knowing that there's imminent threats, but he does have an AR in hand this time, so he's a little bit more flexible. Rotation over from the Boston defense through Dojo on the way, but Nasty's in trouble and he'll fall.
Yeah, he just gets isolated. And now the bomb is getting planted for C9. Boston aren't going to waste any time. They're instantly trying to see it, but they don't spot the guy planting, so the bomb gets down. Snoopy's still in the play. 1v2, 1v1.
Okay, off the reset. Vivid playing rooftops. Timing for Cammy's decent, but the shot just a touch better for Vivid. Clean stuff coming through. Cloud9 respond. We're tied at 3.
Oh, Boston almost caught them off guard, man. Once Snoopy gets that double, he's kind of forcing himself off of the slide, the commitment to chow that third player. And unfortunately, Vivid just gets the better timing there on the Cammy. So Vivid gets the final 3 kills on that round as the glue man continues to shine here on S&D.
Okay. I'm telling you, man, this has been a really fun little game of chess right now.
This is good.
Small things have led to round wins for both these two teams. Boston looking to get Purge and Cammy up forward to B quickly. Nade for Nasty at mid. That actually may reveal something if it does tag. Cloud9 was heavily stacked at mid, so Mac has to be patient through Dojo. But once again, you've got a member forward for Cloud9 in towards hole. Problem is, Boston are not stopping at B. They're trying to push through this. Vivid is at least able to keep them honest, and now Afro, his timing on the flank could be huge. Boston still fully focused on the front. They lose track of the flank, and now you've got the perfect pitch for Cloud9.
Yeah, 1v3 for Nasty. Gonna be trapped in towards 10. I don't think C9 are aware of it, but once he gets his first kill, everyone's gonna turn. He's knocked down to 80 HP, just trying to finesse, and so far doing a good job of so, but too many players still left on the side of C9. And that play call right there for Boston is going to come back to haunt them, because there's no way Nasty should be your bomb carrier and the last player on the conga line, because he can't watch pinch. He has to be thinking about, how can I get this objective down? Someone else has to put themselves in that position, because C9, all they did was stall time until Afro worked that pinch, and Afro broke them down.
Okay. Clean stuff. Quick timing. Everything looking good. But again, how long will that last? Because the responses on the other side have been quick to reform as well. So, see if Boston can keep this away from that elusive 3-5 scoreline. Bean sniping mid this time, and Purge doesn't expect it. That's just good conditioning and good learning from Cloud9. If Purge is going to continue to throw opening shoulders at A or at mid, why not try to get a look at him? It works, but on the other side, Cammy responds. We go 3v3.
To get some information though onto Nasty. So you know he's a sniper player over towards A. And on the opposite side, Beans is going to be isolated. So it's a 2v1 on this end, but they are trying to catch Beans by himself. They got him trapped, but they have no idea now where he is.
Can he find the perfect timing? Vivid going to get the plant off. I believe Beans is on the hunt for Cammy. I think he saw him. Just comes down to COD timing here, and yeah, that information was perfect. Beans now has a rifle to work with. Afro on the other side is just playing the 1-for-1 corner. He gets one, it should guarantee the round. Does Snoopy predict this though? Not quite. Meanwhile, Nasty connects through small, trying to back up. He can find Afro before he gets to the corner. Maybe there's a chance, but yeah, Afro's shoulder confirms that Nasty's committed to terrace. No worries there. And Cloud9 now with the advantage heading late into the search.
Man, I think you hit it right on the head, my friend, when the early first blood out of Beans. You understand the tendency of Purge, not allowing him to gain information through the mid-map this time around, because Beans just valuing his life early into the game, still has the boomstick to work with. So he strikes for the first blood, gets lost. He rotated over towards A, get the bomb planted, and Beans gets himself back into the play by getting information onto Cammy. It's just a great S&D around there from Bean to read the adjustments, and now C9 at game point.
4 in a row for Beans in particular. And if you're Boston, it's going to be hard to feel like you need to make many like macro changes to your playbook because you've been able to find so much success, especially getting the bomb planted. But securing the post plant may be a different story. And this time it's going to be kind of a late feel out at mid. Once again, Cloud9 getting aggressive through the A site. It's going to allow Beans to rotate quickly over to Dojo. Divin's in a weird spot right here, but to say Purge doesn't check the small slatted windows inside of Tin, but a Semtex is still good enough for first blood. Just comes down to, do you get a read on this long pinch from Cloud9 once again here early? And there's just no chance to get away. The bomb is now down. Boston have to recover.
Yeah, now you're trapped if you're Snoopy, because this is a difficult position to get out of, because Beans is also going to shoot you in the back. So you have the numbers advantage, but Mac is just going to throw away his life for free. So 2v2, bomb is going to be down, but C9 do not have that info.
Well, maybe a chance to get back over through mid here, especially with the clock being an issue. Cloud9 will have a small advantage for now, but Boston have recovered the bomb and will have a wide open B site. So take your time, clear your corners, and they should be able to set up their post plan on their terms.
Cloud9 already have a read on it, though. So can you potentially spot these players off of the exit? You're going to have Nasty walking right into the pre-aim of Afro. 2v1 for Mr. Purge.
Yeah, that was Nasty just trying to beat the timing to see if he can catch the flank before it gets there, but he was late to the party. Purge thinking about the rewrap. Has to make sure no one's on for the defuse. Keeping himself tucked, and now Cloud9 are making their move to clear out the site. Purge checks again, sees one. Has one nade to play with. Afro defusing, bomb will land, but Flash Jacket keeps him safe, and he can't find the jump kill. Oh! How about it? The nade must have tagged both, because Purge is able to find the diffuser, plus instantly, before he loses line of sight, connect for the last shots needed for the 1v2.
Playmaker Purge, another 1v2 tallied here on Den. The nade connects on both, and has them both absolutely one shot. The wall bounce, good enough, because it was halfway diffused. You're missing your early shots, you're losing your confidence. But just the second attempt there, are both players weak. You have the heavy advantage. And Playmaker Purge forces round 10.
Holy cow. That was insane. So now 4-5 the count. And Boston aren't going to just play shoulders with Purge. They're going to run it down middle. Vivid, in trouble, dealt with. And now Boston have to scramble to respond to this. As Boston, or pardon me, Cloud9 will have to scramble to respond to this as Boston's fully committed forward, but Mac is going to see just a small bit of info that there are players still forward at mid, and that's enough for Cloud9 to make the gut check call saying, let's go, let's try to get some info on A quickly.
Yeah, but Snoopy spotted them, so they're going to be ready for this push. Everyone rallied in towards the side room, but the teamwork right there out of C9 allows them to instantly win every single one of those gunfights, and now Cammy in a 1v3.
That's such a good discipline call from Cloud9. Cammy's able to find one, though we're not done. Resets. Mac will take the time to plant. Cammy's going to flip the map around by playing backside roofs. Now in the approach. Cloud9 still looking forward. Cammy. Has he seen anything yet? It doesn't matter. Cloud9 is there. That is such a beautiful mid-round adaptation. Vivid gets overwhelmed, but as you try to make sure couches stay safe, you get that small glimpse of Snoopy still dashing back and forth. So you say, you know what? If he's playing mid, that's one of your subs. Let's just run on to A and play a 3v2 at worst there. Brilliant call for Cloud9.
Yeah, but the thing is, Cloud9, even with Snoopy gaining that information, they knew that they spotted them cross over towards A, Al. So they decided to easy read them and know that they're going to put themselves in a position to instantly try to contest us because they have the numbers advantage. You stack it towards side of comms, and you get destroyed. Afro opens up, you try to get the switch. Beans is pre-aiming with the scope, and then a one-on-one gunfight on the outskirts. Man disadvantage, doesn't matter. The play calls from C9 get them through that search and destroy. It was Boston early on, but then adjustments start coming in. Some players start to become easy reads as Beans found 2 first bloods in the later half of that game. But C9 looked like a way different team than they were yesterday versus FaZe. They're up 2-0 this time around.
Unreal, dude. Absolutely unreal. So you kind of talked about the veto process and the vulnerabilities that Boston kind of set up for themselves. You got to square up map number 1 where both teams are happy to see Scar Hardpoint. You allow Cloud9 to get onto their best search and destroy. And now the conversation comes down to, can Boston find a way to reverse sweep, starting with a Scar overload, which, let's be candid, is not necessarily a great mode for either of these two teams. Both have a win so far, but anything can happen between these two teams trying to fight for maybe one last chance to get into the upper bracket, and a good start for Cloud9. We're going to head to the break. When we come back, we'll see if New York can finish, or can Boston extend this series a little bit further with Scar overload coming up.
With my guy Lurks. What are the original Stallions? Talk me through that Stallions experience at the beginning of last year.
That team was amazing, bro. I was really happy to play with my teammates like Mace, Encourage, Abe. That team was like the best Challengers team I've ever played with. It was a blast.
What did it feel like seeing Abe and Merc both get chances in the league? Did that kind of spark a fire, or did you feel like, oh man, I need to, get myself put together here?
I knew my time was coming real soon, so I was just like congratulating them and everything. I was really happy for them, but I was ready.
I've watched you play now for the better part of the last year and change, and I would still say that you have one of the most fun POVs to watch on the map right now. What would you tell the audience they need to look for in your gameplay that makes you different from other SMGs out there?
The flashiness, honestly. I'm really fluent with my movement and everything. Snappy aim, shredding people, running them down.
All right, hit me with your pre-match ritual. What are you doing to get yourself hyped up before game time?
My pre-game ritual is just listening to MVP Bash for the world.
Okay, rapid fire. A little this or that. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No, that's disgusting.
NBA or NFL?
NFL.
Hard point or search?
Hard point.
Last one. If you were to give your rookie season a movie title, what would it be?
I'm here.
Okay. I vibe with that. Sick, Lurk.
Right,
Thanks so much, man. We appreciate you coming on for sit downs with Shift. Good luck this
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL. Black Ops 7 returns to the Esports World Cup in Riyadh this summer. Scan the QR code to be notified when tickets go live later this month. Start the season strong with the 2026 Call of Duty League Pack. Grab yourself the CDL operator by scanning the QR code on screen, or check it out in the Call of Duty store in-game now.
Welcome back to our opening match on Sunday here at the Call of Duty League. We're a couple weeks away from Dallas, and we've got two teams that desperately need to find wins. The more convincing, the better on top of that. And so far, it's been all New York, 2-0 up. And honestly speaking, small edges have led to big moments in both maps so far, Jay.
Oh yeah, without question, man. Map 1, you're getting breaks on hard points that you're probably not supposed to get breaks on at the worst timings for Boston. And then map 2 is just capitalizing on the adjustments that came on in from C9. Early rounds go to Boston. You read what they like to do. You make your adjustment. You start finding first bloods and capitalizing on your post plants. But even though C9 is sitting up 2-0, Boston are desperately fighting for a chance at that top 8.
Yeah.
But you got to get through this guy.
Yeah, dude, I was about to say, like, the opening of the hard point, it really was the Afro show to start, and it was like, okay, kind of dragging his team, not through the mud, but dragging them along for the ride until finally they're all on board. You see it kind of also persist inside of map number 2, 11 total eliminations, and what was a tight search and destroy. So difference maker, you definitely think has so far been Afro. I know the Breaking Point MVP votes will likely be trending that direction right now as well. So that's what you want to see, man. Like, you know what to expect from players like Vivid and Mac, of course, playing together quite a bit with the challenger space, but no strangers are Afro and Beans to one another either, whether they find themselves in the same team or different teams across the pond when they were playing in European challengers. And for those that didn't watch EU last year, dude, this is what we saw from Afro all year long, man. He was just Mr. Takeover over. So that has been key for Cloud9, like you say, trying to get a 3-0 win and have a decent shot at trying to fight for that last position in upper bracket.
And now it's all on the Scar overload, where both teams haven't played it in quite some time. It's been a whole entire month. You played in December, we go on that little break, and now you come back into the mix. And it all is going to come down to the sling. When Boston won it, they outslayed their opponent by 40. On the opposite side for Cloud9, they did it by 20. So killing is going to be the key to success.
Yes, it is. Also just finding a way to dominate space after getting those key eliminations. As we get a little bit of a battle for Motel, Boston will win that. Nice little isolation onto Afro through mid, and now Boston can set themselves up. Nasty up and over, looking for Mac deeper, but he's going to shut down not just one, but two. Follow up off the spawn. Afro in trouble, but has help, or does he? Vivid gets shut down, and now Boston can grab and really set up and execute towards A.
Oh yeah, this is a free cap. Afro's not going to be in a position. Nasty right up the middle. Give me that first point there for Boston. So already off to a great start is the breach, but now C9 looking for a response. They get a clean forward dead, so they know exactly what positions they can take to stabilize on the map. But the reset over towards playing, they're in a position first.
Yeah, they sure are. And Afro clears out Motel steps, but Purge is able to find not just one, but two, keeping safe that long flank and allowing Snoopy off spawn to cut right down middle, but ooh, overextending. Doesn't realize that Cloud9 had backed the EMP up with support through mid. But still, Boston hold the edge on the outsides of the map, forcing Mac to have to play through shops, and there's nothing there. Boston with the quick regrab and a chance for them to control possession.
And they take care of Vivid as well, who's trying to be the island player to set up a pinch, hoping that his teammates can get some kills. Now in possession is going to be Breach. Working their way through playing side. Nasty finding a couple kills, but they get pieced up by Beans to the middle of the map, so it's only going to slow them down on their second tour skip, because all Cloud9 right in front.
Well, Mac for two. Turns the tides in favor of Cloud9. Spawns are close to defend A for Boston. Nasty has to keep his life here, though, at middle. Afro trying to find him as the EMP carrier, but Nasty's going to stay alive, give himself some space to work with, and have nades to give him some clearance, but Beans is able to take down two. Vivid another, and this may lead to a chance to move the spawns over, but no, not quite. Afro gets cut, and now the EMP finds itself on the ground.
Yeah, that's two times now where Boston is saving this by one kill. It was Nasty on the previous attempt, but this time it was Snoopy. Because C9 had all the map control, all the kills in their favor. Just could not locate the final guy. Now Boston are playing from the back foot. Can this player mid-cut get something done? No, Cammy gets cut down, so now you're trapped towards the backside of Motel. Someone's got to ice up on some fights, and it's Snoopy with a bailout double. Gives you another shot.
Now Beats, a couple of tags in, but has to keep his head on a swivel, and as he does, it's Boston who overwhelm him. Now makes the move forward. Purge, tough fight as Afro gets the first couple of shots, but forces out the wall bounce. Almost looking for the turn on to Vivid, but Snoopy has the last word. Boston with an advantage now over the top of the EMP, but needing to clear out mid as Beans will make sure that Cloud9 can at least get some forward defense moving.
Oh yeah, Beans finds a double, so now you can get aggressive up through playing, force Snoopy to reposition himself. And now you have control of the EMP, but here comes Cammy working the pinch every single time. It's just one kill breaking them down, because if you're the ball carrier in Afro, you're thinking I can wrap back to my teammates. But now with Cammy in your base, all of Boston flooding, 3 go down, second score is bound to come in.
Looks that way. Vivid will drop unless Afro can get over the top. No, he's shut down, but wait, Beans has found one. Purge is low, but Cammy is there. A couple of the wallbang shots do eventually come through, but the score gets past the threshold, and it's 2-0 with a minute 30 in the half.
And now C9 got to play the reset. No one in a position to, as they're clearing out their spawn, going to take their time, and Nasty's just keeping the EMP safe for now. Allowing the teammates off the respawn, rotate back over towards Motel. But he's back down from this position while Mac finds one. So this is where you can start to get aggressive up through trains. Cloud9 looking for the kill, and it's Beans, top green control in his possession.
Well, here we go. Looking for a possibility to score, but oh my. Boston still able to hang on. With a minute on the clock, Snoopy will grab the EMP to see if he can flip the map around a touch, but they lose Purge, so things have to slow down just a touch. Or do they? Snoopy tries to push forward, denied. Cammy in some trouble here. If he gets traded, maybe a chance for a counter cap, but Beans can't quite lock down the stairs. Good angle from Nasty. And Vivid, even though that kill comes through, Boston is here defensively.
Yeah, it's got to slow down again. Final 40 seconds. Boston keep on gunning out of their spawn. Team kill isn't going to help, but the reset has come in. Cammy watching over. That is going to be 3 dead. You already have players in the base if you are Cloud9, but the EMP carrier cannot cross for free, because Nasty finding that one kill isn't going to be a difference. They get on the board.
And some exit kills come through here. So hold on a second. 16 seconds. EMP is going to unlock here in a moment. Boston are a little bit spawn trap, but Vivid cannot enforce the trap. So it's on to Beans, and he will also drop. Afro thought about it, but instead, just going to kind of get to work, chipping away at this setup. And it looks like he's going to have to kind of play on an island. We're going to get the overtime of an extra 30 seconds, but Cloud9 had very little ground to work with.
Yeah, just looking for some kills in the middle of the map. Cammy strikes first. Nasty finds kill number 2. Now you're just going to make an heroic push here. So you're going to be outnumbered. Boston just playing the defense, not allowing you to get close. Don't give them an opportunity, and they do not. Boston going into the half up 2-1. But it could have got a lot more scary because they had a lot of goal line stops, and if that one player every single time was in a position to get the kill, C9 would have had 4 scores.
Yeah, I mean, even there at the end, I mean, it's just they have a good spawn trap set up. They just couldn't find the little kills that they needed to really enforce it. There's the opening score from Nasty, just able to dive across. The second time, stop, but he's got help. And that's really been the kind of story for Boston. They've done a really nice job winning over the top side of the playing field, but also just getting someone in position, that Cammy play in particular, to stop Cloud9 from A, helping that top part of the map, but more so, also force them to spawn down towards B. Just good manipulation for Boston in the middle of that map, or at least that half, to give themselves a very narrow edge, and we'll swap the sides and try again.
Yeah, and this is a situation where if you're Boston, you don't want to get put into one of those traps because it's a lot more difficult to break out of back blue than it is back green. So need to make sure you're not dying in sync. Vivid already finds one on the pinch. Afro being aggressive through Deli. Mac gets the info on one on the backside, so you can just run this right through plane. This might be a score.
But Purge finds 2. Snoopy's still alive. Vivid thinking about it. Gets hung up on the tank. Mac was right there with an angle to support. Whoa, nice shots for Mac. Beans to follow. No, shut down by Snoopy. Former teammates matching there outside of field. But Mac on the cutoff. A couple of tags will alert Boston to his position, but Beans has some help from afar, and he's got a chance to maybe find more and then grab and go. That's exactly the case.
Yeah, Boston are really playing on the back foot right now. Like, they are just putting themselves in position to always have these clutch gunfights. If they don't go your way, then it's going to be really scary. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now Afro's starting to come alive. Had a slow opening round, but on 3 in a row, looking to continue on a hot streak. Just gets bad timing there off the respawn of Snoopy. But the reset comes in, back to square one for both teams.
Yep, Nasty key in that small moment. Finding a couple of kills, stopping Cloud9 from reinforcing the far up EMP position. Beans resorting to the pistol, overwhelmed. Nasty continues on a bit of a hot streak there this first part of the second half. 20 and 16 overall. Nice tracking from Vivid to stop Snoopy from breaking ankles. But all things told, back and forth affair, and it's just a tug-of-war game over the middle of the map.
Yeah, Vivid's finding every clutch kill. Securing top green, making sure that EMP is going to be safe, and now 2 kills go in favor of C9. Yeah, I have information that one of the guys is going to be in towards Deli, but now you got to slow down because 3 make it all 4 dead for Boston. They have all the map control. This is an easy score.
Mac is able to get around the corner, but isn't able to find the kills that he needs. Boston take advantage of the 4-man feed. Cloud9 now stuck, split spawning all over the map. EMP up towards plane with Cloud9 spawning motel means that Beans has to try to survive as long as humanly possible, and at least he's able to provide 1 kill to allow Cloud9 to not be put into a blender coming out of motel.
But the map control again still in favor of Boston. Now you can make decisions depending on these kills. We're gonna wrap back, play keep away, or push it right through. Cammy through mid cut, trying to clean up house, only able to take down 1, but EMP is already on the rotation over towards Meltel. So with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, C9 need to get something going quick.
Oh, careful if you're Nasty. Don't want to drop here, especially with Vivid creating some noise at mid. Purge will fall first. Cloud9 trying to hunt. Mac gets a ton of damage into Nasty. And mid has opened up. So trying to support our Boston, but that's going to be 3 dead. 1 more. Purge is good for the opener, but Mac is able to at least get across. There's a little bit of help. Can he get there to score? Just comes down to is any nade's going to touch? No, not quite. And a detonation comes out. Cloud9 just down 1, under 2 minutes to play.
And I need to take care of Beans because he's already in position to spawn you over towards White Wall. Not ideal when that EMP is reset over towards Motel. Thankfully, he's quickly handled. But 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. C9 just need to slow down, look for a wave of kills, but Nasty finds 2. Afro's got to get something done on the pitch. Boston again, all map control, EMP in their possession.
And Nasty can just keep pushing spawns off, and he is on the prowl. Doesn't take advantage of the opening freebie, though. Beans gets 2 on the low ground. It just comes down to, can anyone stop the actual EMP carrier? The answer is no. Cammy gets the score. 4-2. Minute 10 on the clock now, as Boston are going to play a little bit of defense for now, with Cloud9 already finding some good transition kills.
Start working your OEs, could push yourself through motel and start setting up these pitch angles, because you're going to force C9 to play a little bit more aggressive, and now you catch them all lacking. 4 dead. Everyone off the respawn, and Mr. Purge, a playmaker, is clearing out the space. Just not enough, because C9 have the advantage now with the numbers. Gotta slow down.
Yeah, Cammy just cannot get caught here, but he's already being tagged up through the wall. Opportunity for a quick counterattack. Cloud9 have gotten out of spawn and put some pressure to keep Boston pinned up top at blue. Nasty, again in trouble. Tags coming out. Snoopy trying to force the issue, gets denied. That's 2 dead. Cammy playing close in on the corner. He cannot stop the score. 30 seconds on the clock. Boston will clear out Cloud9, but not before we get to a 1-point game.
Yeah, C9 are already in the position to have the map control to potentially get another score, but it's Nasty again, lighting up the kill feed on 6 in a row, taking care of the overextenders and just playing keep away for now. Final 15 seconds. You let Nasty get 1 more kill on the Hellstorm. It's GG.
Sure could be, but you have to get the EMP first. If you're Cloud9, then focus on the front. Nasty does get shut down. 2 seconds. Boston going to try to deny the EMP from being picked up. Although, there it is. Let's say 1 more member down low will get the final kill needed. No overtime here. No final chances for Cloud9, but another map that can be defined by small moments, creating big impacts on the scoreboard, right? And Boston will extend the series with that.
Yeah, a lot of small moments, a lot of key gunfights there for Boston, just clutching up on that first half, because it could have got real ugly real quick. But it was Nasty bailing them out most of the time in that game. Cammy had his moments, and even Purge did. But they were in control and took advantage of those perfect moments. When 4 dead, you take that space, you have a player work the overextension. He trapped them in towards the back of the spawn. Boston played it to perfection. Just C9 couldn't capitalize on finding that final player. Afro also, what kind of overload is that? He's their best overload player by far. And he does up 1,800 damage, double negative, not the gameplay we're used to seeing. But Boston extended this series a little bit longer.
Yeah, man, it's just Nasty stepping up and really winning those long-range fights. It felt like every single time we watched him. 33 but 26 non-traded. Also playing a little bit of defense there with 3 objective kills, but yeah, it definitely didn't feel like after we just gave him all the gas in the world after the map 2 transition. Not quite able to get into the mix there. So life in the series now for Boston, and what has been a very tightly contested affair. I just come down to, again, like, so many small moments. It just feels like for both these 2 teams, but if you were just to take that away and just focus on one team or the other, you could also just classify saying, like, you clean up those small dirty moments, and these teams could definitely be competing with some of the better squads that we have in the CDL. It just comes down to just not making errors, which both teams have been prone to.
Yeah, but that's the struggle of being a pro player, is that when you're making errors, obviously the team that makes the most errors is going to most likely lose the map. It's just sometimes very difficult to fix those small things when you have so many other things to focus on. So it's all about honing in on one thing at a time. And at least for this Scar, they make their adjustments on not allowing the play to get away from them, showing the clutch factor when they needed to get goal line stops. And now it looks like Boston Breach have come to life. And it's the perfect time to do so, Al, because that next map that we got coming up, oh, it's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah, dude, it's, well, I would say, like, we get to keep our eye on players like Snoopy, for instance, because, well, you know how that goes with SMGs on Colossus. And it feels like, not that he's due, but we haven't really seen the same, like, individual takeover in the early season from Snoopy that we had last year in Black Ops 6. Like, I remember watching early Red Card with Snoopy being like, dude, if he gets loose, he's gone, and he's gonna make a mess of everything. We really haven't seen that same level of impact from him yet, and maybe some of that is because the style of map is a little bit tighter overall across the hard points, but I really want to see if he can provide that takeover kind of dominance that we've seen from players like Kremp, for instance, on this map.
Yeah, I also think it's a little bit of like not being able to practice with your team for quite some time after the break. Like that little split second of just being a week off or a week and a half, 2 weeks off, that puts you heavy behind all these other pro players who have been putting in that time. So Snoopy on a little bit of the catch up. That's no excuse, because you're a professional. You should always be ready to rock. But on a map like Colossus, with the play style that he has, you expect him to have a heavy impact to potentially the outcome of how this is going to go. And on the opposite side, Afro's got to have the bounce back. Right, Al? Like 14 to 29,
yeah,
like
dude.
Colossus? Yeah, we can't have that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that we talk, of course, the story about Snoopy on one side, but you do have to put a lot of focus onto both Afro and Beans here because, yeah, map 1, they were great, but this style of map is very different from Scar, and it's going to really test the flexibility of Cloud9, who, again, not that they're short of that by any stretch of the imagination, but when we've watched them on this map before, I think in particular that series versus Paris, they just got outgunned, man.
Yeah,
they couldn't rotate, they couldn't hold, they didn't have a chance to really even play the map, it felt like. And when you're behind the 8-ball, this map could snowball very, very quickly. So definitely feels like after the hot performance for both those guys on map number 1, a lot of focus to Cloud9 to see if they can close here by way of those 2 players trying to showcase their flexibility.
Yeah, you can guarantee that Boston on a map like Colossus are most likely going to give us a barn burner because 2 out of the 3 times they have played it, it's been within 20 points. So it's just the little things, the quick reactions. P2, P3 chains can be very impactful. But Colossus, you have to be prepared for how fast you need to be able to read these certain things on taking certain positions. Because Colossus, like you said, man, if you get into that early spiral where it's just you can't read certain players, you're losing track of guys, then it's really hard to bounce yourself back into that game, even when you're cutting your losses and rotating over towards Nuke, because they have that confidence to just take all that space away.
Absolutely, my man. And hey, let's be honest, like we're looking to see who's going to walk away with championships early, and those are the things that we're looking for. But you may have missed your window for Major 1 and Major 2, but do not miss out on Atlanta, Georgia. By far one of the coolest DreamHack locations in terms of density and population, and being able to bring Call of Duty to Atlanta for the first time since Modern Warfare 2019 means it's going to be electric. Tickets will go on sale, single-day tickets, keep that in mind, on Monday. So get there, get yourself signed up, not just to see the major, but enjoy one of the coolest dream hacks that surfaces and tours around their usual stops. It's a really cool location. Atlanta's a sick city, lots to do, lots of things that you can obviously fill your schedule with, whether it be gaming related or otherwise. So that time of year, Atlanta should be beautiful. You'll know, Jay, you'll catch me on the golf course at least once. So
I'm not going. I'm not going.
Oh, man, I thought I was about to play you for one.
Nah. I'll be out there. If I do go, I'm swag surfing because, you know, we're in Atlanta, and that's what they do out there in ATL. So I can't wait to get there. Dream hacks are always very fun.
Dude, that's going to be a sick event, especially with the format that we have for that particular series as well, or for that particular major. But let's kind of bring this back in because some of you may be a little bit sleepy today. We'll recap over kind of the status for map number 1. We talked about this map being possibly a series-breaking map for either of these 2 squads. Both love it. Both have tremendously good hardpoint records on it. It's a square-up map. And it started with that in mind. Yes, a slow start from Cammy, but it was a conversation of Nasty versus Afro, 2 EU players that have lots of familiarity with one another. And then eventually, you start to get the supplying of support from Mac and Beans for Cloud9. It's the small moments that led to those narrow edges and continuing to build those narrow leads for Cloud9 hill after hill before they eventually closed out.
Yeah, it's just tight games. Back and forth you go. It's just those little micro moments of, all right, we're dying 4 dead with 20 seconds remaining on P3 while we're spawning blue. That is not ideal because now we spawn all the way across the map. I got to waste more time to get breaks on hills like P4 that are very unbreakable. It's just some mishaps there for Boston, but having an opportunity now to potentially already starting the reverse sweep, but continuing the reverse sweep here on Colossus. It's going to be a barn burner, like I said. Within 20 points, I'm calling it now. It's going to be the difference at the end.
Oh, okay. I'm here for that, dude. We've had a lot of, you and I especially have had a lot of really tight Colossus map calls. Down for a little bit of extra energy for this one. Mac will kick us off with an opening double. Nasty responds in kind. And all in all, leads to a one-on-one over the top of the hill. And, well, that will be enough. Whoa, okay. We're getting ourselves straightened out here. Be enough for some early time.
Rewind. We got to see all these kills. They happen so many times. We're back into the game. Purge on 3 in a row. He's going to get shut down. You still have sack control if you are Boston. And right now, C9 playing on the back foot. Everyone towards yellow, just funneling over towards the HP is not ideal. Someone's got to hit her out.
12 seconds remaining. Cloud9 still forcing everything from the front, and Cammy with an AR in the hill will get 3 in a row. His regen slowed by the stun. That's when Afro pounces. So now Cloud9 working to hit from the front of P2. They've got spawns pushed up to the top. And now, right before the hard point opens, they force Cammy to spawn all the way out. So every single kill coming through for New York, they'll establish hard point control and also dominate the spawns.
Yeah, now New York can run it up because you have Beans already contesting around this mid map. Boston are focused on him. Where has he gone? He's trying to set up the timing play. At least finds one. Should set up your team in Mac for the trade. Now you just got to gun down the rest of Boston. Approaching from the front side, and that's already the first push getting shut down. 30 seconds left to go. Mac taking more space in Boston. Now you're going to be forced to make a decision. We got to rotate because breaking front is not going to be easy.
No, not at all. And more importantly, look how far forward Cloud9 have pushed. If they find this next wave of kills, they could actually force Boston to spawn behind and away from P3. For now, Boston's still spawning down on the lower left-hand side of the map. Trades right through tunnel, have Beans scope up, trying to find the connection through the wall, but not enough damage to find kills. A perfect P2 for Cloud9, but Boston an edge over toward 3.
Yeah, now African worked this long route. I don't know if Nasty was able to spot him, but the timing is not going to be his best friend. Back and forth, they're standing right next to each other while Beans finds a kill. That's 3 and then a team kill. All 4 dead for Boston. Everyone spawning in Africa, and now you got to take long routes to even contest this P3.
Yeah, not great after the initial breakoff. Looked pretty perfect for Boston. Have not had a moment from them largely since. A couple of the kills come through here, but Mac is very safe inside a tunnel. Head on a swivel, though. They know the pitch is on the way. Beans deals with the opener. Mac throwing shoulders, trying to keep Cammy a little bit further away as help has now arrived. Purge inside the hill. Vivid on the pinch has been read. Moment for Boston, pending they can shut Vivid down, and they do.
Yeah, Boston can walk away with this final 15, but now Mackenzie Mouse is playing ahead of the game. Early off the rotation, not going to be spotted on the cross, but Purge knows there has to be someone in the vicinity. Let me take my time, clear out every single corner, but the Mac timing isn't going to work out. Afro now looking to make up for it, but he's going to be isolated. Too many players here from Boston trying to contest him. They have the back spawns, they have the HP.
Yep, good moment here from Boston. Spawn fight has gone their way. 3 members focused front, though, here for the breach. Mac looking for trades as Snoopy bumps the hill. Can't quite finish the kill, and that's 4 dead. So with 40 seconds on the clock, Boston's still going to prefer to, of course, keep the spawns close. But they are starting to push up a little bit, make life miserable for Cloud9 trying to rotate in.
Yeah, they're so far away. You're spawning in the backside of P2 because you're taking space at P2 and you're hard blocking towards the back. So Boston uncontested here at the P4, had the lead for now, but C9 aren't going to give it up for free. Still trying to pressure from the front, getting gunned down by Cammy, and now you have that decision made for you. We got to cut our losses, set up at new. We don't want to give Cammy an early Hellstorm.
Well, he may still find it. Pistol out, not quite able to convert the kill into Afro, but the trade is there. Snoopy will make sure the high ground is in control, but did not expect Vivid to be playing that close towards mid-statue. So an open hard point towards P1. A 25-point lead for Boston, though, as we head into the new set. And a couple of kills will have them feeling pretty good about their chances of winning early time at 1. But now Cammy, off the regen, is stuck with just a pistol, and will keep on just fighting this one out back and forth over P1.
Yeah, C9 had the blue side, but right now Boston are playing keep away here at P1. Looking for kills to go their way. Snoopy trying to finesse. Teamwork on display as Cammy keeps him alive. Purge does the same thing. And now with 3 dead in the feed, you're locating the last guy. And if you get that kill, you spawn them all behind you. But C9 still, with the spawns over towards blue, going to get this one last push.
Yeah, no reason not to. Not with as much time as still remains here on 1. First 2 kills are good. Snoopy, Purge, couple of trades. Vivid still in the hill, being bullied out, and Boston will win back mid. Beans makes sure, though, that there's no immediate follow-through to get to the P2 side of the map for Boston for now, but both teams are spawning on the left-hand side with only 8 seconds remaining here in the hill. So every fight over the top, the mid, or through P2 is important. They've been able to find one to slow down the rotation, but the lead is going to be about 40-plus points now as Boston are putting early pressure on P2, and Snoopy and Purge open things up for the breach.
Massive moment here for Boston. You got full 60 last go around at P2 because you go 4 dead at the wrong time, but this time it's completely flip-flopped on its head. C9 go 4 dead. You take the back spawns from the front, and now you're up by 60. And you force it Cloud9 to play a lot quicker than they want to. They have to funnel their way through the front side, and Cammy's just cutting them down. Another 3 dead in the feed. Boston still holding.
Oh, but there is a player in Beans that spawns, whoa, right next to Purge, essentially. And he's able to turn and find the kill, so great stuff now for Boston. From 5 to 1 to 2, everything's been perfect, and now they're finding transitions with extra resources if they need to dump them into 3, but they may not need to as Snoopy's on 5, able to beat Beans to the gunfight, but not in the actual fight itself. So Purge will hold off, get the nades out, and we'll see if Boston is trying to commit something to this break.
Yeah, Boston, the last 3 hills have been basically perfection. Cammy has came to life as well in this series. Everyone fighting on all cylinders, and when you're dominating like this, you're bound to earn yourself some hellstorms. Snoopy just trying to connect on something and give all the information to my teammates there, bottom side, green tunnel. We have the numbers. We just got to find these final couple, and it's Nasty again lighting it up. Another hellstorm in the back pocket, but Breach in control.
Snoopy's in trouble there, but has help. And Cloud9 are knocking on death's door right now. They need something on the end here, plus also the follow-up to New, and they're just not getting through the AR sights of Boston. The space that's been created is now being cleared as Snoopy continues to play the close corner. Now a pinch opportunity for Purge. Shut down. Cloud9 still alive, able to get some contest into these last moments. And we keep our eyes and attention down towards the bottom left-hand side of the map. Hellstorms could be a factor still, but the spawns move with only 5 seconds remaining. Boston have an edge to at least set themselves up with 2 members first.
You get a little too aggressive out of the VRC 9. Now you got to fight the back out to break this HP. Boston already here, though. Cammy playing it to perfection. First blood, stall time with the Semtex. Teammate here to help you, and now clean up the rest. All 4 dead. Boston looking to close it out right here, right now.
Yeah, it's been just back-to-back hills that have come through so nicely for Breach. Nasty, able to find one more over the top. Gets the read that Cloud9 are setting up their approach from the front, and no one finds a kill for C9. Last chance, last-ditch effort to extend the map. Afro shut down. Cammy's going to be on 5. Give him number 6, 31 and 13. Boston looking for the reverse sweep will send us to 5.
Whew, that was a beat down there, Al. Like, it was close until it wasn't. You get towards the ending of that P4, you get dominated. Go to P1, you don't get time, and then you lose a spawn in the final 10 seconds, and you allow them to make up the differences of what they did on the last P2 to get a full 60 this go around. And that was just everyone firing on all cylinders, but the Cam man came to play today. On that Colossus HP, Boston potentially on the reverse sweep. Forced to game number 5, and now Cloud9 are shaking in their chairs, Al. Because what is it? Game 5 woes, 0-3. Not again is what they're thinking.
Absolutely. They lost the map 5 to Minnesota, Miami, and Paris. Looking to right the wrongs here for Boston, who's still, I think, trying to shake off that little bit of a, I don't know, painful side hurt from Vancouver doing a reverse sweep to them earlier on in this January calendar year of qualifiers. So both teams familiar with map 5s, some a little bit more negative than others as we look over the score lines once again. And yeah, it's just the AR show. Nasty 19 and 15, but a minute 14 in the hill, but Cammy's 31 and 13. Not too far behind him in total damage is Snoopy. So again, just that early pressure coming through the SMGs being followed up and then controlled by the ARs. Looking nice as Boston enjoy about a 150-point win. And the chart, like you said, close until it wasn't. That flat line from 3 to 4 to 1 to 2. I mean, really, you're telling me that there's only a total of 23 points across the tally of 6 hard points for Cloud9. They just dropped dead in the water.
Yeah, that just wasn't close. Like, we just got to completely forget about that. Basically make it look like what it was like yesterday versus FaZe and just throw it out the window. Because now you're going into another game 5 where pressure is at its highest. You were trying to potentially fight yourself for a playoff spot or a top 8 spot in winners, and you got to get it done on a map that you haven't won yet. So good luck.
Oh, good luck indeed. We'll sit. We'll try to figure out where the advantages are as we consider an exposure, search, and destroy for map number 5. Kick it off Sunday the right way. We'll step away for a break. When we come back, the conclusion of New York versus Boston right after this.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL. Scuff, official controller of the CDL. Look like the pros to play like the pros. The CDL team skins are available now. Scan the QR code or check out the in-game store now.
Cracked.
Don't play with this guy, bro.
Wait, that's me! Chat, I'm in the bottom right! That's me!
pretty sure if you have the ball.
To work with.
No,
Vancouver.
I'm on the broadcast. Check, that was me. No way. That's what he wants to do.
Okay, bro.
That's me.
Okay, that's how the series ends. Okay.
Oh my god.
It's like both sides. Watch out, he might be ironing you.
I think he's looking for you.
He is. Low boat.
Nice! Oh my god. Good map, Ken. Holy god. He just took us home. Oh my god. Bro, I can.
Kenny.
No way.
Oh, man. Oh my god, I should have.
Joe, bro, yet she should have had that.
He won that. I actually thought. Nice.
Let's go!
Come on, Benji. Come on, Benji.
Oh man.
You just overextended kill me. We just need. There needs to be a trade there.
Won the unball, man. Won the unball.
that. How are you losing that? Oh my god, no fundamentals out of the full pro squad? GG.
He comes right behind him. Oh god. Purchase drop. Beans is the clutch god, and he's got a message.
Salut encore. Mets-toi en confiance, mon grand. Allez.
Forget about him and instead try to play for the quick retake up the middle. Inside, well, he sees a lot of it, but not able to find any kills. So now Kleenex, he's really far away with the rival 9 at the moment. He's going to wait for Envoy to be the first one to move from the flank. Smoke is out. Envoy to check. No one's on the bomb. And Envoy holds his position a little while longer. Oh, my! How does...
We've had lots of fun search and destroy moments in the CDL, but this one could be pretty critical for both these two teams. Again, trying to fight their way into the upper bracket for Dallas. Again, this is not just a one and done. You win this, you're in, but it gives you a chance. You lose this one, you're likely dealing with the consequences of starting in the lower bracket where there's very little forgiveness. So this is a big one here, Jay. And for Boston, try to finish the reverse sweep. Who are you looking at? What are you looking for?
Oh yeah, without question, I'm looking at Purjay, because that was a guy who was giving them early playmaking abilities and finding success in the rounds. But then these two guys also made impacts. Nasty with the snipe, even with the AR. He consistently is being so consistent for this team. And then Beans, you allowed him to dictate in those final couple of rounds with that sniper. Drops to double digits, 1100 damage. 2 opening doors, and on a map like Exposure, you cannot allow him to find those picks, because even though Boston found 7 first bloods in map 2, you still lost. Yep. So we got to capitalize a little bit better this time around.
Agreed. Plus post-plant security was also a bit loose as well for Boston, kind of on that same storyline of you got first blood, you got a bomb planted, but you still weren't able to fully hold. So those are going to be the keys, especially surrounding a map like Exposure. We've only seen Cloud9 play here once. They lost it pretty convincingly to Paris. Whereas for Boston, very recently, they played Vancouver here. That was their map 2 that they were able to win 6-3 before eventually, like we mentioned before the break, before they got reverse swept. So try to just follow up on some of the momentum that they had from last week. Plus also, again, just trying to find differences in that first blood category and then turning it into success. That's the big key. As we head on over and take a look to see if Beans can find anything at dirt first. Nope, no challenges for Boston. Everything's staying pretty passive for the defensive breach.
Yeah, and both these teams play these guys with a lot of respect. Just go for default setups to try to get a read, but Afro takes space too long and gets nothing done out of it. Thankfully, Max there for the trade, and Vivid unfortunately falls off the map. 1v3, 1v2 for Beans.
Yeah, but he's in trouble with no bomb, and he's got very little map to work with here as Nasty and Snoopy have collapsed from mid down towards dirt. It's going to give Beans a lot of space, but again, he's just in a world where he's got to hope for perfect timing, looking for a weapon, I imagine, besides the scope right now. And this is where they may meet, just outside of window. Beans hears someone, though. Does he anticipate both is the question. Waiting to see if someone will challenge him, and he's going to get, again, a little bit more vacancy around mid.
It's all about the timings. Right now, Beans is looking for the gun and the bomb. able to pick up a Dravik. Boston have already cleared out space over towards B. Now the double chow should come in towards A. You're not able to spot him if you're Snoopy, so Beans is gonna exit.
And he's gonna try to reset this. Snoopy gonna hop. Beans, former teammates with him. Does he anticipate this? No, not gonna check. And Snoopy will confirm the round with the numbers for Boston with the opening defuse.
Yeah, I think Boston, or Snoopy specifically, was able to spot him on the jump up towards Dirt. So Purge put himself in a position. You know it's going to take a little long to work his way through mid-zig. He can only contest back from the angle that he dropped down on. So instantly hop to defuse. But even if Vivid doesn't fall off the map, he's definitely dead. He was definitely dead. He wasn't going to find that kill. And Boston come out the gates hot opening round.
Yep. And a little bit of just weirdness in that opening shell from Afro over the top of the turbines here at mid. Looked like he had one dead to rights, but was worried about the help and support. So stun check through the smoke for Nasty works. Cook nade on the corner, lands, and Mac will fall. So good first blood again here for Boston, playing an early 4v3.
Now we just got to convert on it. Because see, now have to make up for the numbers. They do a great job already of taking a lot of space towards mid. You put down shots of your Vivid to be the bait and switcher to set up Afro for a kill, but Bean should not die in that scenario. And now it's Afro left in a 1v3, trapped between a rock and a hard place. And Boston capitalizing off these first bloods quickly up 2-0.
Wow. That is an opening statement that is more than just a couple of narrow round wins. Those are convincing rounds right there for Boston. And will definitely play with your mind a little bit if you're New York in terms of what do you want to call early here, because yeah, like as mentioned, Afro trying to get aggressive in round number 1 doesn't really find the openings he was looking for, and this time it's Mac trying to play forward with, again, a little bit of support from his ARs behind him, but the play never really gets off the ground. So what do you call in this next offensive attempt? Beans tried to snipe the cross to Dirt early. This time AR in hand, he's looking to top window.
Yeah, it was a 2-0 start, map number 2 for Boston. Then Cloud9 started to make adjustments to come back in, and already into this round, they find first blood. You're instantly going for the chow if you're Afro. You're able to even up the numbers there if you're Purge. He was forced into that gunfight, but now you got to slow down.
Yeah, Mac thinking about trying to jump into top window. Boston will reclaim and Purge down low. Yeah, just able to find perfect timing, but the trade is decent. Keeps us 2v2, and Mac, after his initial death, will at least see his teammates recover the bomb and have a lot of time to work with.
Just waiting to see if they could spot them, so they can make a decision on what bomb they want to go to. But Boston are all the way across the map. The longer you wait, the more space that they're clearing out, and the more they're aware that the play is going to be over towards B. So we got to get it down.
Yeah, you just can't commit to staying on that flank watch for so long, and now you've got some nerve about trying to hit over to B. Committing. Bomb for Vivid will be planted. So how do Cammy and Nasty try to play this for the retake? Vivid has both weapons to use. And he's going to get tested here over towards Tank. He's out in the middle of no man's land, but he's able to find at least 1+ damage. Beans cooking a nade to see if he can get one for free, but looks like Cammy's going to be alive and well. To the 1v1 we go. And he finds him over the top. Perfect timing. Beans was trying to be sneaky, but Cammy takes away the high ground, and Boston start off 3-0.
Just that small millisecond of not hearing any noise forced Beans to think he's potentially going to be on the rotation. But the Cam man, ever since that overload, has came alive in this series. -40 is not what he was looking forward to yesterday. But he is back today fighting for potentially the final A spot. A massive clutch, because once Vivid gets this one, that's job well done. And then Beans is taking, I know the play style. Your teammates giving you comms off of the kill cam, but Cammy just jukes you out of your socks for Boston to continue the hot ride. 3-0 now.
Now you need to put together a response pretty imminently if you're Cloud9. Nasty's going to snipe. Sees Beans up top at window, and I think that information's now mutual with that secondary check from Beans. Still thinking about it. And, well, he may not fully see it. Mac down low is under some pressure, but there's plenty of help nearby. It just comes down to making sure you don't get picked if you're Cloud9.
Dude, I'm telling you, Nasty's just letting go of the trigger or not really focused on that gunfight. Every single time he throws that shoulder, but gunfights are already going down at the middle of the map. Instant 3v3 and Snoopy finds a trade, and Snoopy's not slowing down. Kill number 2, looking for kill number 3.
I love that. Nasty gets the info that, yep, Beans is playing up top. Doesn't look like he's sniping, so try to bully out the bottom, put pressure on Beans, and then wrap around the back of it. Snoopy off 3 in a row. Nasty, he's being chased and doesn't know it, as Vivid is right behind him, but Vivid sees none of this intel. So now he's a little bit lost, and he's got to go across the map to try to get to the A site.
And once this bomb goes down at A, there's only so many spots that you can clear on out before you run out of time. So Vivid has to work quickly to gain some kind of information. Wrapping his way through back window, going to work to low dirt right into Boston setup.
Yeah, and Snoopy's going to get the intel. So Nasty will watch on a bit of a hard scoped angle. Nade just to slow things down. Here comes the first gel. Snoopy sliding away off the corner of the wall jump, at least able to create space for the easy follow-up. Boston still flawless here in map 5.
Yeah, Snoopy just popping takeover on that round. Mid-map is yours. No, it's not. It's mine. Find kill number 1, kill number 2, and then the trade for Cammy for kill number 3. As Nasty secures the final one on the round, but C9 just have not had an answer. The game 5 woes continue for the squad from New York. But this time around, Boston breached a lot tighter on their setups, a lot more effective with where they're finding these kills at, and can currently do no wrong here in the game 5.
Wow. This has been pretty dominant. Great ideas from Boston, great execution on those ideas, and now we're starting to get aggressive. Mac gets a read, but can't get the first, forcing the trades as Vivid is able to at least come up and find good timing for 2. Cammy was thinking about trying to play for the trade, but it's not going to be able to get an angle on it initially. And now Cammy's in a little bit of trouble. He's committed, but Beans finds the easy trade 1v1 early with Nasty again.
Does Beans have some clutch in them? Your team desperately needs it right here, right now. And Nasty's just playing the 50-50 chance. Both players not willing to move. Don't want to make a mistake. But time is starting to tick, and this is what Nasty's looking forward to.
It's all quiet. And it very well may be for a while here as Beans continues to show that he doesn't really commit to plant right now. But here he goes. Does he clear up this top platform? I don't know if Nasty's fully seen him. Wait.
He can plant it and instantly get the kill.
Yeah, but unless Beans can get down to bottom dirt. Nasty finally sees him. Shots are perfect. And that will work. Yeah, Beans isn't happy about that. The one place he just cannot check, dude. This is so tough.
He's like a bird in the nest there, Al. Just protecting his territory, trusting his instinct, playing the 50-50 chance, and even if you get the bomb planted, I'm instantly going to be in a position to spot you on your exit. Clutch after clutch now for Boston. And Beans, unfortunately, has been at the back end of multiple in this map. And yeah, that's just so annoying. Like, you get off the bomb plane, you're like, all right, I'd rather not be able to plan if you're going to be sitting up there. 5-0 Boston.
Yeah. Wow. So now it's do or die time for New York. Nasty sniping. I think saw Vivid initially with that little jump peak. Just isn't in a spot to find the connection. Until almost. But doesn't make a difference. Cammy's found first blood. That's down low towards dirt side. Stuns, nades, all landing. Nasty missing another freebie onto Vivid, but the push-up's now starting to come through with Purge on the flank. Snoopy supporting from the front, and Purge not even needed this time. Nasty lands. They know where their afro is, and Beans finds himself in a very impossible 1v4.
Yeah, let's just chalk this one up, Mr. Benjamin. Sniper pistol. I don't know how you're gonna do this. Yeah, you don't stand no chance. Boston breach, get the job done. Complete the reverse sweep. Dominant in the last 3 maps. But that S&D was picture perfect. I don't know if C9 ever had 4 players going into these rounds because how fast they were getting blooded. But Boston give themselves an opportunity at a chance at that A spot to end at Major 1 in winner's bracket.
Yeah, man. I mean, that every single round was pretty much the antithesis of what we saw at map 2, right? First bloods, this time converted on. Post plant setups, this time converted on. Everything was pretty much perfect for Boston. They missed out on 2 first bloods, but And a lot of those rounds, I want to say that they were able to get the bomb planted, at least in one of them. And that was able to confirm, I think, early 3v3 situations. Like, it never really felt like they were ever playing into an odd man situation. It's like, yeah, maybe they didn't get the first blood, but they were quickly able to respond and keep it to an early 3v3. So good mitigation of numbers, good control of the map for Boston. Cloud9 just could not get a play to come close to working, man. It's like everything they designed just never fully was able to get off the ground. So a reverse sweep here to kick off our Sunday.